How make confidence in speaking. Lily often felt a knot of anxiety tighten in her stomach whenever she imagined speaking English. Her daily struggle with British English pronunciation and finding the right words was a constant source of frustration. Despite her deep desire to communicate fluently, particularly in that charming British accent, she found herself retreating, unable to articulate her thoughts. This pervasive fear chipped away at her confidence every single day. She yearned to truly engage in conversations, to express her unique personality without hesitation or stumbling over simple phrases. The thought of participating in discussions, sharing opinions, or even asking for directions filled her with dread. This internal battle, a silent war against self-doubt, was a heavy burden she carried daily. She knew something fundamental needed to change within her approach. Her journey began subtly, almost secretly, within the quiet sanctuary of her own home. Lily decided to experiment with a peculiar, yet surprisingly effective, technique, talking to herself. She would stand before her mirror, sometimes just narrating her actions, describing mundane objects around her flat in British English, forcing out the words. This initial step, seemingly simple, proved to be an incredibly brave act. She started by describing her morning routine, detailing each step aloud. I am pouring myself a cup of Earl Grey tea, or the kettle is boiling quite vigorously now. This private practice allowed her to make mistakes without the pressure of an audience, slowly building a tiny spark of self-assurance. It was awkward at first, listening to her own voice stumble and mispronounce words, but she persisted. The mirror became her non-judgmental confidant, a silent listener to her nascent attempts at fluency. This self-dialogue was foundational, helping her to connect thoughts directly to spoken words, bypassing the fear of immediate judgment from others, which was crucial. One evening, while searching for ways to further enhance her English, she stumbled upon numerous articles explaining why reading is so important. The advice resonated deeply with her. She realized that consistent input, not just output, was essential for language acquisition. It was a revelation that expanded her strategy beyond mere self-talk and provided a new avenue for growth. She started with simple British novels, chosen specifically for their accessible language and engaging stories. Reading allowed her to immerse herself in authentic sentence structures, idioms, and vocabulary in a natural context. The written word provided a stable foundation, showing her how native speakers actually constructed their thoughts and expressed nuanced ideas effortlessly. The more she read, the more she began to internalize grammar rules and common expressions without consciously memorizing them. It was a passive, yet incredibly potent, form of learning. This new habit enriched her mental lexicon, giving her a broader palette of words to choose from when she eventually tried to formulate her own sentences aloud. Reading also improved her understanding of various topics, equipping her with more to talk about. She found herself learning about British culture, history, and even quirky local customs, all through the pages of books. This newfound knowledge boosted her confidence in having something meaningful to contribute to future conversations, expanding her horizons considerably. Beyond just reading, Lily quickly understood that improving her listening skills was equally vital. If she couldn't comprehend what others were saying, her ability to respond appropriately would always be severely limited. Effective listening was not just about hearing words, it was about understanding context, tone, and implied meanings within the flow of conversation. She began to consciously integrate British podcasts and BBC news programs into her daily routine. During her commute, while cooking, or simply relaxing at home, she would actively listen, trying to catch every word, every intonation, and every subtle nuance of the speaker's voices. This dedicated exposure was a game-changer for her auditory comprehension. To truly improve her listening skills, Lily adopted an active approach. She wouldn't just let the sounds wash over her. Instead, she would pause recordings, repeating phrases, mimicking accents, and even transcribing short sections to check her understanding. This meticulous practice honed her ears to the intricate rhythms of spoken British English. This dedicated listening practice also helped her differentiate between various British accents, from received pronunciation to regional dialects. It made her less intimidated by the natural variations in spoken English, preparing her for real-life interactions. The more she listened, the less foreign the sounds became, and the more she felt connected to the language. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, her ability to understand rapid-fire conversations began to grow. She found herself catching jokes, understanding subtle sarcasm, and following complex arguments with greater ease. This improvement in comprehension directly fueled her speaking confidence, knowing she wouldn't be completely lost in a dialogue. Despite these significant strides in self-talk, reading, and listening, the ultimate hurdle remained: engaging in actual conversations with other people. The thought of facing a real person, with their unpredictable responses and potential for judgment, still sent shivers down her spine. This was the moment of truth for her progress. Lily knew she needed to step out of her comfort zone, but a full group conversation felt too daunting. She discovered the concept of practicing in pairs, which seemed like a more manageable stepping stone. It offered a less intimidating environment to apply her newly acquired skills, reducing the overall pressure she felt. She joined an online language exchange platform, specifically seeking partners interested in British English. Her first few conversations were nerve-wracking, her heart pounded, and her palms became sweaty. The initial awkward silence often stretched, and she found herself struggling to initiate or sustain a natural flow of dialogue. Her initial partner was a kind student from London, patient and encouraging. They started with simple introductions, talking about their hobbies and daily routines. Lily focused on applying her self-talk techniques, trying to formulate sentences in her head before speaking them, which sometimes led to frustrating pauses in the conversation. During these pair sessions, Lily consciously made an effort to listen and practice. She would actively focus on her partner's words, trying to understand their meaning fully before formulating her response. This dual focus on both comprehension and articulation was exhausting but incredibly rewarding for her overall development. Her partner would gently correct her pronunciation or suggest more natural phrasing, which Lily embraced as valuable feedback, not criticism. This safe, supportive environment allowed her to experiment with new vocabulary and grammatical structures without the overwhelming fear of making a significant mistake in front of many people. She learned the immense power of simple phrases like, "Could you repeat that, please?" or "I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that." These were not signs of weakness but tools for effective communication, helping her navigate moments of confusion and ensuring she fully grasped the nuances of the ongoing conversation. The practice sessions became a ritual, a crucial part of her daily struggle against linguistic shyness. She committed to at least 30 minutes of pair conversation every other day, rotating partners to expose herself to different accents and speaking styles, pushing her boundaries consistently. Gradually, the awkwardness began to dissipate. Her responses became quicker, more spontaneous. She found herself initiating topics, asking follow-up questions, and even engaging in light-hearted banter. The fear was slowly being replaced by a genuine curiosity and enjoyment of the interaction with other language learners. She realized that improving her English wasn't about achieving perfection overnight, but about consistent effort and embracing the process of learning. Every stumble, every hesitant word, was a step forward, a testament to her dedication and her growing courage in the face of previous anxieties. The combination of speaking to herself, devouring British literature, actively listening to native speakers, and engaging in supportive pair conversations created a powerful synergy. Each element reinforced the others, building a robust foundation for her overall English proficiency. It was a holistic approach to language learning. Her understanding of why reading is important deepened significantly. The stories and articles she consumed provided endless material for her conversations, enriching her vocabulary and giving her authentic ways to express complex ideas. Reading fueled her speaking confidence, providing the content she needed to communicate effectively. Moreover, her honed listening skills allowed her to pick up on subtle cues, understand varying tones, and even anticipate what her conversation partner might say next. This predictive ability significantly reduced her anxiety, making conversations feel less like a test and more like a natural exchange of ideas. The self-talk remained a private rehearsal space. Before important conversations or presentations, she would mentally run through potential scenarios, practicing key phrases and anticipated responses. This preparation minimized stuttering and helped her maintain a smoother, more confident flow of speech when it truly mattered. And the pair practice was her real-world laboratory. It was where she tested her theories, put her new vocabulary into action, and received immediate, constructive feedback. The repeated exposure to real-time interaction was the catalyst that transformed her theoretical knowledge into practical, usable communication skills. Lily started noticing remarkable changes beyond just her English abilities. Her general self-esteem, which had been battered by years of language anxiety, began to soar. She felt a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing she had actively overcome a significant personal barrier through sheer perseverance and strategic practice. Her daily day's struggle morphed into a daily journey of discovery. The initial burden transformed into an exciting challenge, where every small victory, every successfully communicated idea, filled her with immense satisfaction and spurred her on to greater linguistic achievements and confidence. She discovered that genuine confidence in speaking British English wasn't about being flawless, but about being willing to try, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. It was about finding joy in the process of connection, even when the words didn't come out perfectly as she had originally intended. Her British English started sounding more natural, her intonation more nuanced, her rhythm more aligned with native speakers. She was no longer just speaking words, she was speaking with authentic expression, conveying emotions and thoughts with a clarity she had only dreamed of achieving previously. People around her began to notice the transformation. Friends who had known her struggles expressed surprise and admiration at her newfound fluency and willingness to engage in lively discussions. Their positive feedback further reinforced her belief in her own capabilities and sustained her motivation. She even started offering advice to others facing similar challenges. How to improve your English, she'd tell them, is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself, but be consistent. Every little bit of effort truly makes a monumental difference. Lily emphasized the importance of finding one's own comfort zone for practice. How to talk at home to yourself is a fantastic starting point, she'd explain, because it removes the pressure. It's your safe space to experiment, stumble, and rise again without any fear of judgment. She stressed why reading is important, urging them to pick up books, magazines, or even online articles in British English. It's not just about vocabulary, she'd insist, it's about understanding the flow of natural language and absorbing grammar without feeling like you're studying endlessly. And remember how to improve your listening skills, she'd add, it's the other half of the conversation. If you can't understand, you can't respond effectively. Immerse yourself in authentic audio materials, even if you don't grasp every single word at the very beginning. For those brave enough, she strongly advocated for pair practice. How to talk to people in pairs, she would say, is the bridge from passive learning to active communication. It's where you truly put your skills to the test in a supportive, low-stakes environment, allowing for real growth. Listen and practice became her mantra, a simple yet powerful summary of her journey. It wasn't about perfection, it was about the continuous cycle of input and output, refining her understanding and expression with every single interaction, no matter how small or insignificant it seemed initially. Her journey proved that even significant daily struggle with language can be overcome with dedication and a structured approach. It was a testament to the power of breaking down a large, intimidating goal into smaller, manageable steps, celebrating each tiny victory along the way. Lily's life transformed. She found herself participating confidently in international meetings at work, no longer shrinking into the background. Her ideas, once trapped by linguistic barriers, now flowed freely, contributing significantly to discussions and earning her respect among her colleagues. She even started attending local British English conversation groups, something she would have considered utterly impossible just a year ago. The thought of "let's talk in British English" now filled her with excitement, not dread, as she eagerly anticipated engaging with new people. Her voice, once hesitant and barely audible, now carried a newfound assertiveness. The subtle nuances of British English, which once seemed insurmountable, were now things she genuinely enjoyed mimicking and incorporating into her own speech patterns with increasing ease and accuracy. The confidence she gained in speaking British English spilled over into other areas of her life. She found herself more assertive in general, more willing to take risks, and more open to new experiences, realizing that overcoming one major hurdle often empowers you for others. This transformation wasn't instantaneous, it was the result of countless hours of diligent practice, perseverance through moments of doubt, and a refusal to give up on her dream of fluent communication. Every small step accumulated into a giant leap for her confidence. She often reflected on her initial fears, the tightness in her chest, the self-consciousness that held her captive. It felt like a distant memory, replaced by a sense of liberation and joy whenever she opened her mouth to speak in her beautifully acquired British accent. The process had taught her invaluable lessons about learning itself, the importance of consistency, the power of active engagement, and the necessity of creating a supportive environment for personal growth. These insights were applicable far beyond just language acquisition. For anyone asking how to improve your English, Lily now had a clear, lived answer, forged in the crucible of her own struggles and triumphs. Her story was a powerful reminder that language learning is deeply personal, yet universally achievable with the right mindset. She continued to advocate for the multifaceted approach, stressing that there's no single magic bullet. It's the combination of self-practice, extensive reading, active listening, and brave conversational attempts that truly unlocks fluency and fosters unwavering speaking confidence. Her experience became an inspiring testament to the fact that confidence is not inherent but built, brick by brick, word by word. It solidified her belief that anyone, regardless of their starting point, can conquer their linguistic fears and embrace the joy of communication. Lily's journey showed that improving one's English is a holistic endeavor, touching upon personal development as much as linguistic skills. It demonstrated how dedication to a skill can fundamentally change one's perception of oneself and one's capabilities in the world. Every new word learned, every sentence successfully formed, every conversation she engaged in, contributed to the edifice of her growing self-assurance. She was building not just fluency, but a stronger, more capable version of herself, one British phrase at a time. The struggle was real, the path arduous, but the reward was immeasurable. She had unlocked a new part of herself, a confident communicator, capable of connecting with others across cultures and sharing her unique perspective with the world without fear. And so, Lily's story stands as a vibrant example of dedication. It vividly illustrates how consistent effort, combined with strategic learning techniques like talking to yourself and practicing in pairs, truly leads to remarkable strides in English proficiency and speaking confidence.